Hey guys, so here bringing you another video. Now welcome back to Iron to Master. So this is the Smurf series where we take a Smurf account for a account never played rank before and show you the adventure to master. We return, I believe, somewhere in Gold 2, and worth mentioning, we're playing Morgana this game, and this is a POV commentary. I'll explain why, obviously, in a minute, but bringing up the old load of Meduda, it is, as you can see, mainly a Platinum game, but we have a Gold 2 Ezreal. This guy, yeah, he was part of the reason that this is a POV commentary, is he was quite frustrating to play with, and I just kind of needed to concentrate. So the video title is probably something to do with like how to carry as Morgana support or how to take control as Morgana support, probably on those lines, because the thing with bot lane, and I've said it for a while, it is arguably my favorite lane in the game. You know, if you're talking top lane, mid lane, bot lane is arguably my favorite. I like the champions that go down there, but the negative of solo queue bot lane is that you're paired with a friend, and they might not be very good. So yes, obviously I'm smurfing, so I can't expect the best AD carry, but this Ezreal wasn't fantastic. So worth mentioning, he's also taken lethal whatever on Ezreal, which is a bit weird. I don't think I've ever seen that before, and he was very aggressive. So you will see this in this game. But yeah, level 1, by the way, Viger just suicides, and like instantly I was like, oh wait, have they got an inter? Or is there a remake happening, so he just kind of doesn't care? The answer is no. He just did that. No idea why. Like, if you're wondering, I go to position over there because I'm like, if he goes to do that again, maybe I can just get a cheeky kill, which is good. But, yeah. So, worth noting what the Ezreal says there, by the way. We outscale. So, keep that in mind. He kind of knows that we outscale them. So, in lane phase, what that generally means is we don't need to risk very much. If you're wondering how do we outscale the enemy team, for a couple reasons. One, Fiora does outscale her lane opponent in 1v1, so having a permanent split pushing top laner that they can't beat in a 1v1, yep, Fiora just beats Darius. Lux is pretty good against heavy melee comps, and Morgana is like the queen of the best against heavy melee comps. And if you look at the enemy team, they are so like short range focused. Darius, Jarvan, Mordekaiser all have no range to them. Yeah, you've got Caitlyn, but even Viger hasn't got incredibly high range. So Morgana is like amazing versus this comp. So is Lux. So you just got to be patient. Nothing risky, nothing over the top, and voila. So the Viger's going for a really questionable trade, and he does get taken nearly to death, and actually so does the Caitlyn. So that is, I'd call, a positive trade for us overall, and that's what we're looking for here, right? An Ezreal Morgana lane versus a Caitlyn Viger lane. Again, Viger's looking for scaling, obviously, as well. But generally, I go for the all-in. Level 2, we get the Ignite, we get the Bind and boom. We get First Blood. Pretty basic stuff. Enemy team didn't respect the level 2, and they get punished for it, which is good. But in general, me and Ezreal, we should be looking for poke rather than like actual fights. Sure, like that example there is a bit of a difference because that's just getting level 2 quick and using the level 2 to get the kill. But in essence, we just need to be patient, farm, and just really, well, level 6 at least. And yeah, just look for this, like good poke, good harassment, and that's about it. So worth keeping that in mind. But I will say that the exciting part of this game, from memory, it was just under half an hour. The exciting part of this game, mid-game, mid to late game, it really highlights the strength of Morgana. You know, worth noting, this was my first recording session of today, and I was like, all right, let's just ease our way in to recording. Let's do a support game. And I do think that's a good idea. And again, I don't want that to come across a bit BM, like, oh, I'm a bit tired, or I'm waking up a bit, oh, let's play support. Support does take skill, but it just obviously is less, you get less punished for being a bit, like, tired or rusty in support because, you know, you don't need to last hit at all as support practically. So it's just little things like that that's a good role to kind of wake up on, which is good. So we nearly killed the Caitlyn. Luckily, though, I black shielded the Ezreal. Otherwise, he probably would have died. But that's obviously the great thing with Morgana. Worth noting, we did, from memory, I'm not sure. We picked Morgana, I think, into Viger, but naturally, we didn't know it was Viger supported at the time. Like, I don't. Like, when I see a Viger, I'm not thinking, that's going support. But, yeah. The Jax, by the way, was DCing constantly throughout this game, which is a bit annoying. And our Fiora, oh, really annoyingly. So, the enemy had two duos, and one of those duos was the jungler and top laner. We've said it time and time again. A bad example of a duo pairing, like say a top laner and a jungler, a bad duo is that jungler only ganks top. Because in essence, it probably means they don't trust each other very well. They don't trust the Darius to do well in that 1v1. So Jarvan is only going there. So then they lose control over bot lane. They could lose control over mid. They could lose control over dragons. And that was happening this game. So Jarvan was only going top. The annoying thing is the Fiora didn't adjust her playstyle at all. Like, I literally mean she didn't adjust it at all. The whole game, she was complaining. She was pinging. My God, he's coming top lane. Never adjusted, never got good vision down, never played slightly defensive. Again, for a champion Fiora that she knows or should know that she outscales a Darius, why even risk the lane phase? You don't need to, right? That's kind of the point. Unfortunately, I didn't get my spell shield to just walk away, but we get rid of most of the damage. Ezreal takes a pretty bad trade versus the Caitlyn. And this is where, by the way, things start to go, from memory, a little bit iffy. So the Ezreal, I think, has built tier, which is natural. They do get a kill on Darius, which is good. So they bought tier on Ezreal. So now there is no point. Yeah, so he's got tier. Caitlyn bought a double Doran's. So right now, Caitlyn has way more actual strength in fighting than an Ezreal. So all we should be focusing on is poke. Poke, harass, and basically try to get the Caitlyn out of lane rather than kill her. Killing her is going to take a little bit too much. Unfortunately, Ezreal gets caught, and this annoyed me, this play here. So we're looking to survive, and we're going to back away. Cool, we've survived. Look how aggressive the Ezreal's playing, by the way. Overly goes aggressive, gets himself killed, and it's like, what? Why risk it? Like, we escaped. He healed, we got away, and then he went back in, and then look what he types. So the whole of Twitch chat loved this, by the way, and this is what made me stop doing the live commentary. I was like, nope. All right, I'm going to concentrate on winning the game. We are going to get dove, by the way. There isn't any surviving this. What I should have done, in essence, I think, is put my W down. We did land a good bind. Unfortunately, Caitlyn didn't get tower aggro, though. But yeah, so the Ezreal's saying, why am I so afraid to trade? I'm not. We are actually doing a lot of damage with landing our W, and that's all we should be looking for. Ezreal's got tier, and then he also died. So to me, that is the classic case, and you can see he's spam pinging and everything. That's the classic case of projecting. Again, we all do it, let's be honest, but he made a mistake. He got himself killed. Support, why aren't you trading? It literally makes no sense. But he's projecting his mistake on somebody else. We all do it occasionally, but yeah. Lux, by the way, walks to bot lane and just walks into the enemy team and gives them another free kill. So far the game's going a little bit iffy, a little bit annoying, but that's just the way that it goes sometimes, you know? Meanwhile, but again, keep it in your mind that the better player you become, you start learning about picks and how they work and all that good stuff. I know in the back of my mind, Morgana is an absolute monster into this enemy comp. Like, you got to keep a glimmer of hope. And, you know, especially about the champion that you're playing. Sometimes, not necessarily, it has to be about your champion. If you're not having a great game, but you've got a hyper-scaling late-game carry on your team, sometimes you're like, okay, maybe they can carry. And you can kind of hold on to that if I just enable them to carry. And by the way, what I'm doing there is just pinging the Ezreal, because he's pinging and look like going, why aren't we going in? He's got a tier, she's got a BF sword. It makes no sense for him to, like, look for aggressive plays. Just look for poke. That's all we should be doing. Yet this guy is, like, constantly wanting to fight all in all the time. And this is where, again, we are doing a Smurf series, so I'm not expecting amazing play from people. But this is where, as a Smurf, you've really got to try and bite your lip. Because, yeah, this wouldn't happen in Diamond. A Diamond player would be like, there's no way we're fighting right now. This guy was gold. So a gold player is like, you know, he's not going to fight. So here I kind of just go, what is Tier of the Goddess? And on stream, obviously, I'm reacting a bit funny to it. I was told that apparently it's a new build. It's a really dumb build. So I can nearly probably say that it was probably made by a Fiora one-trick and stuff. We've said it time and time again. Stop doing builds that one-tricks do. Do the basic build before you kind of do the one-trick build. So I make Ezreal... well, we're looking for some poke. Ezreal goes all in, gets himself killed again, which is a bit annoying. I was just looking for some harassment there, getting the Caitlyn low. Like we mentioned, we should never be looking for actual fights. We should just looking for harass. But the Ezreal is just in his mind, all in, all the time. He's also said, it's over, Jarvan ganked. Remember, keep that in mind. We've got a really negative Ezreal. He's pretty bad. So yeah. So at this point, I'm like, I'm going to try and get the kill on the Heimerdinger. Veigar. And worth noting, if you look at in my items right here, right? I've got the rune for stopwatch. It's coming up in over 2 minutes. So that Viger had to buy a stopwatch. He just spent 600 gold to get that kill. So yeah, I never expected him to have stopwatch there because it doesn't come up for another 2 minutes, 3 minutes basically by then. But yeah, he bought a stopwatch, which is really weird. Never would have expected that. So yeah. Anyway, game's going pretty bad. We're nearly getting doubled on kills. We are now doubled on kills. Jarvan, worth noting, was kind of weird to see. This is a Jarvan one trick. Don't think I've ever seen a Jarvan one trick before. If you're wondering why, Jarvan is like a very... Someone just subscribed on Twitch. So Jarvan is a very basic champion in essence. Anybody can play him. And he's not really a champion that is worth specializing in because he's just Jarvan. But we've always said there are one tricks for everything. May as well give a shout out. I'm not streaming right now, by the way, because we're doing the POV commentary. Joker TV, thank you very much for subbing. Anyway, Ezreal getting caught once again. Me and Jax trying to do a little bit. The enemy team will get Dragon. Fiora dies in top lane, but we do get the Viger, which is something at least. But yeah, we were saying about that tier build. Don't do a copy of a build that might be okay. I will mention in the next couple days, there's another Fiora and she doesn't do the build. And I kind of explain this point a little bit better in that upcoming video. It's just a bad idea in general. But again, me saying it will literally mean nothing. The people in lower rating will always copy what one tricks or challenger players do, even if they don't fully understand it. It's happened literally from season 1. So me saying something is not going to stop it happening. It's just the way of League at the moment. Anyway, we're looking for a gank in bot lane. I give a spell shield to the Jax, but then he backs away a little bit too far. Looking for the kill on Caitlyn. He does get the thing. Looking for the bind, but Caitlyn flashes away. Very close. Heimerdinger goes... why did I call him Heimerdinger? Viger goes aggressive. And here, by the way, what the hell? They both just backed off completely. Caitlyn heals, and they will, survive. I was really confused about that because I think there was a Viger cage, but my team could have gone above the Viger cage and basically cut them off. They just walked away. And like the Ezreal, like the Jax is wanting to report the Ezreal, but honestly the Jax did a lot wrong there too. Again, it's a weird game, but this is the point. So many solo queue players 100% would have given up the game. And this is the point. I stopped my live commentary because it was just a bit, it was a bit negative. It was a bit blah. So all I was doing was like re-getting my focus, which is a good thing to do. Again, as we've said before, this is ranked. So I do need to focus about winning the game sometimes. And trust me, as the video title maybe suggested, we do pretty good in mid to late game. So worth noting. Anyway, Jax is going on the Mordekaiser in the mid lane. Again, I will say it's a bit weird to see Mord mid. I don't fully rate Mord mid. I guess like a Lux is never particularly going to kill it in a 1v1. But still, I was looking for the bind here as they came out, but unfortunately there was too many minions. Jarvan also in the area at the right time, so nothing major is going to come out of that, and we will probably just back away. We'll also mention just today, it's a bit of a spoiler, I guess, but today on stream it was literally crazy. The support, all I'll say, I won't give away completely what happened, but the support that you guys give me on stream, on YouTube, thanks so much. Like, I legit get blown away a lot of the time by it. Anyway, Viger getting caught, thought he was being sneaky. I give the spell shield to the Ezreal, and that will, in essence, give a free kill over to us, which is nice. And now, if you're wondering where my mind is, we have to try and kill this Caitlyn. So I'm like, okay, now might be a good idea to kill the Caitlyn. Meanwhile, Darius dies in top lane. I think the only time Darius has died so far is when Jax has ganked, which makes sense because Fiora is buying tier. That's just going to get rid of any lane strength that Fiora ever will have. Sure, Muramana will eventually scale probably quite well, but your actual lane phase, yeah. But anyway, meanwhile in mid lane, there's a trade 1-for-1. Caitlyn mispositioning here, so I'm like, maybe we could do something here. Not really sure why she was there, and I also don't know why Jax didn't go for that, but if watching that back, I think he used his Q a millisecond before to just attack her rather than jump over the wall and follow her. So yeah, I think we saw that Q go off. Gonna go back. Got my Zhonya's now, but unfortunately getting caught by the Viger, and right now, by the way, I'm dead. But, because I thought he had ultimate spell shield so I don't get stunned. He doesn't have ultimate up because in that play that we just killed him and he was hiding in that bush, he did use his ultimate there. So he didn't have ultimate on cooldown, thankfully, otherwise I was dead. But I'd say him finding me there pretty much guarantees that they've got a ward in that bush. So yeah, worth knowing. And we're going to back off by the Zhonya, which is now... I don't know, we've you know, it's a little saying that we have here, you know, you're kind of waiting for a champion to become a champion. In essence, Morgana becomes Morgana when she gets Zhonya's. So the game is going pretty rough. I think everybody is more or less having a pretty bad game at this point. Jax is having an okay game, but that's about that. Looking for maybe the kill on Darius, so I'm just going to go and cover the lane, which is good for XP, both for me and Ezreal. Sometimes it is worth splitting when you're behind. Going to try and get the kill, though, and we're going to pick up a kill on me. Again, maybe I should have given that to Jax, but I think even my Q got it, maybe my W got it, and yeah, we will get the kill. So you can see that Darius is being confused as well. And trust me, I know there's going to be people in the comments going, oh, such and such player, that's a Fiora main, does it, and therefore it's good. If you know Fiora inside and out with thousands of games, maybe. An average player that doesn't play Fiora, no. It's better to have a standard build that gives you decent lane strength than a weird, wacky build that gives you good scaling. So that Jax disconnecting, then reconnecting instantly again. Again, that does become quite a big pattern in this game. Jarvan sneakily was kind of waiting. A little bit weird. We get a good bind on him. We're going to give Jax the old spell shield. Mordekaiser ults. I just noticed. I didn't see that in actually the game. Mordekaiser ulted. I get a shutdown. I might have actually got one kill. The Jax got the other one. Mord tries to flash to kill me, and I finish off the kill. So there's 2 more kills. So the game you can start to see is slowly turning, which is good. But yeah, I didn't catch that. Feel free to rewind because it's actually really funny. Mordekaiser legitimately ulted the Jax while he had black shield on him, and obviously that's a spell shield. He can't get hit by a spell while that's up. I didn't notice that when I was playing the game earlier today. That's kind of funny. But anyway, got 2,000 gold now, which is a lot. I think we buy boots, and I decide... So in Twitch chat, there were some people asking, you know, am I going to go supporty this game, or am I going to look to carry? Here's the answer. When you're playing an AP champion that can potentially carry, and you're playing support, and maybe you don't trust your team, yeah, I'm going to try and carry the game. So I've got the support item naturally, so I can put vision down. I will be looking to do that as a support, put vision down. But yeah, carry the game. Why not? It's the one thing that I've always said about Lux support is it only generally used to work when it got fed because it had mid lane scaling. But when it got fed, it was basically you had 2 mid laners at that point. Morgana's kind of the same. She does have a bit of support scaling. She also has her W, which I believe is health percentage. So like Morgana's not bad without getting even damage items. You want damage items though if you can. Anyway, enemy team going a bit too all in. I know that guy's dead, so I'm going to go for the Jarvan. Going to finish him off. Fiora gets a double kill. Fiora then going to get a triple kill, which is good. Enemy team just going a bit too crazy, in all honesty. Like the enemy team has thrown this away. I don't know if the right thing to say is they became a bit cocky, but like they just got outnumbered and they just played too like crazy. Like the Jarvan was going all in, like that you know, before this play they died near the dragon. Okay, that's not that bad. But then that play they're in our jungle. So it's like they're just playing a little bit too crazy far up. I'm going to try and kill the Viger here, and I just legitimately get chain CC'd. I should have Zhonya's. I just didn't have the reaction time, unfortunately. Again, you're not always going to react perfectly to situations, and there I made a mistake, and I die. But thankfully, technically, that makes it a 1-for-1, which isn't too bad. So I don't mind dying for getting the Caitlyn. Unfortunately, though, Darius does a teleport behind my team, and Jax will pick up the Viger. So in essence, that makes it, I believe, a 2-for-3. So that is a negative trade, technically. But that, you know, it's not the worst negative trade in the world. When you're getting rid of the AD carry, that gets rid of a lot of their pushing power. So I don't think they're going to gain a tower or anything like that from our deaths, which is okay, I guess. But now we're going to return. We're alive. Why am I buying Leandri, by the way? First, I raise it really heavily on champions that can put things on the floor and people stand on them. So like a Nivea ult, Malzahar ultimate, Morgana pool. I like Victor actually is not bad with it. I like those because it basically you get ticks after ticks after ticks of Leandris, and that does add up in terms of damage. Anyway, Fiora fighting the Darius. And by the way, at this point, you know, you're basically 20 minutes into a game. Fiora 100% should have outscaled a Darius by now, but she hasn't because of, yeah, something that we've spoken about, obviously, a few times already this game. So she does die also, so she died in the 1v1. Ezreal has flashed. He's now also about to burn heal. And by the way, there is no point for him to burn this stuff. I've got Moby boots. I'm right next to him, and eventually we would have chased him down anyway. But the Ezreal was a bit impatient, and Ezreal blows both of his summoners to kill the Darius, which don't think he really should have done, but oh well. Looking just to get rid of some vision. Maybe I should be putting a couple wards down here, by the way. And again, these are the good things with the POV commentaries. Because I'm not live, I don't have the emotion attached to the game. So I can think a little bit more clearly about the education aspect. And educationally, yeah, I maybe should have warded the Baron at least and looked for a couple things here or there. Enemy team, once again, by the way, like we mentioned, maybe they did get cocky. Way too deep. Like, Caitlyn was bot lane by herself on the tier 2. Veigar is in our jungle by himself. So the enemy team is leading this game, but playing really, and the word that I'd probably use is sloppy. They're playing really sloppy. Why is an AD carry by herself in bot lane on a tier 2 at 20 minutes? You know you're going to have a massive target on your back by everybody in the game at that point. And, you know, the Jax became like, ooh, I can kill you. And he did, for free. And I think even Caitlyn flashed away. Rift Herald being used in mid lane. And we're going to look to try and break open this tower. Just going to do, or look for the bind, obviously, on the Mord. And really, what I will say, a nice combo in this game of World Team Comp. Lux and Morgana. That is insanely high range Qs from both of us. And if one of us hits one, the other one will probably hit one, and boom. Fiora, by the way, dies solo to Jarvan there. So yeah, she didn't, you know... Darius didn't even get involved in that, and she still died. Gonna look for the Darius, though. We spell shield the Jax. I actually get the kill, and we're now going to back away. So we are probably losing Dragon because of this, which is a bit of a bummer, but it's fine. Again, we do still technically outscale the enemy team. Dragons obviously should be the priority, worth knowing. But when you have an outscaling team comp, Dragons aren't like the 100% thing, especially in the early game. If you're going to risk the game for getting Dragons, but you know you outscale the enemy team, why would you risk the game? Anyway, enemy team, again, like we've mentioned a few times now, look how aggressive they're playing. They're in our jungle. They get caught again. It's crazy. Like, they were winning this game really easily, but because of their greediness of, like, kill them, they put themselves in compromised positions, and they end up dying a lot. And you will also notice, by the way, we are starting to do a little bit of farming on Morgana. Because I know I'm kind of doing the AP build, I'm like, right, let's just kind of focus on, you know, making money in the end of the day. Unfortunately, Jax will die, but that's fine. We still have pressure. Darius isn't probably going to be able to 2v1 me and Ezreal because of the bind, because of my Zhonya's. They're going to look for it, though. Unfortunately, it doesn't happen. And yeah, I'm nearly getting the tier 2, but right now it's not to be. Will note, by the way, I do rate Fiora quite heavily in solo queue climbing. I've said it a couple times, we're starting to play on the main account a little bit again. I'm recording this on the weekend. It's probably being uploaded tomorrow. I don't play on the main account on weekends. I've genuinely, like, that's an actual thing. I avoid playing on the main account on weekends. I've always noticed the game quality to go down on weekends, so why risk your main account? So I'll resume, obviously, on Monday. But the main account is recovering, and I value, what am I actually doing? Playing top lane. And I'm playing, like, split-pushing top laners. I actually think, and yeah, for me to say that, by the way, you guys know I do not rate split-pushing. Right now I do. I think it's really good for climbing in solo queue. So, for me to say it, you guys probably know, oh, damn, Huzzy, that must mean it's pretty strong. Because, yeah, I actively think split-pushing makes it harder to climb, usually. Not anymore. So, yeah. Anyway, gonna go for a death cap, by the way. Ladies and gentlemen, so worth knowing, our performance in the game so far is really good. We're 6 kills, 10 deaths. Arguably, we might be a bit more of a carry than the Lux at this point, possibly. I'd like if we could ping her to look at her AP. Unfortunately, we cross streams and miss both of our Qs. But yeah, I don't know if we ever click on the Lux, but I would presume we have more AP than her at this point. And here is something that actually happens, unfortunately. But I did decide to continue uploading this game and do the POV commentary because it did show a couple things. So the Caitlyn, by the way, she semi-goes AFK. I think she kind of started to rage out a little bit because of, like, we were winning this game early and we've kind of thrown it, and she kind of raged about it. So she kind of quit the game, but she types later on. So she's like, again, to me, it was kind of raging. But lane phase went pretty poop. We can agree on that. You know, the Ezreal played overly aggressive when he had Tyr versus a BF sword Caitlyn. Why risk it? He even said himself at the beginning of the game, guys, we outscale. So when you outscale, why risk anything? You know, even he made that point earlier, but he ignored his own point. But this shows that as a support, you can do a lot of work to recover the game. Like Jax did great, which is great. But watch this team fight, by the way. We are outnumbering the enemy team. Just worth knowing. There, I killed the Darius. Gonna help kill the Maud, kill the Veigar. So that was a 3v4, because obviously Caitlyn wasn't there. But in a 3v4, the enemy team just got annihilated. They killed one of us. Fiora was top lane. Jax was bot lane. And we still annihilated them. So this is the point that I want to make is, if you are a support player, I wouldn't always play, like, you guys will see that I don't play Enchanter supports. We do have a couple of them donated, by the way, so we do have to do a Nami game and stuff like that soon. But, like, by my advice, avoid Enchanter supports to climb. They make it harder to climb. Play supports that have good pressure. And what I mean by that is that, yeah, you can play like a Leona or Nautilus. They have good pressure. They're good tanking pressure, good engaging pressure. They're pretty good. We're going to bind the Veigar, and Ezra's going to finish him off. Going to finish off the inhibitor as well. And then I think I'm going to try and get away from the Darius, who's very angry. But play a support that can, if needed, start, in essence, carrying the game. So this game was rough. I didn't trust really the mid laner that much. I definitely didn't trust the Ezreal. So I'm going to start building damage, and I can try and carry the game. You can do that on Morgana. You can do that on Ezreal. You can do that on Brand. Not Ezreal. Sorry, I was reading him. You can do that on Brand, Morgana, Vel'Koz, Morgana. I mentioned Karma maybe a little bit. But you can't do that on Lulu. You can't do that on Soraka. You can't do that on a lot of Janna. So I'd avoid the actual enchanters, and I'd stick to the ones that have good actual scaling potential to carry your team. And by the way, that does still include Leona and Nautilus. I do rate them quite heavily. But yeah, Pyke as well, I guess. Senna is probably one, but I've just personally never come across a good Senna per se. Senna is donated, by the way, for me to play at support. And I'm making the joke there, by the way, I am the mid laner now, as kind of a fun thing. But I'm going to do the dragon by myself. And this is where the Caitlyn, by the way, I don't know, someone DDoSing me. Yeah, if you know what DDoSing is, that's just not happening. Which is kind of funny. And if, by the way, I didn't report the Caitlyn, I probably should have, because she did technically AFK'd, but I will never believe either side of the enemy team. Like, the Caitlyn saying, I'm getting DDoSed, but remember that earlier the Darius was like, oh, the Caitlyn rage quit, and she also said, literally, Caitlyn typed, I'm going AFK. Maybe the Caitlyn did type that. It's very possible, but I don't know that she did. And remember how reports work? One report is the same value as 9. So you know when people go times 9 Caitlyn? That's pointless. You don't need to do that. The same weight of a report is 1 versus 9. So if Caitlyn truly did say, I'm going AFK, and she rage quit, well, obviously her own team is going to report her, so she'll get a punishment anyway. It doesn't need us to report as well. So I'd rather keep my reports 100% like on the up and up. I'd rather keep them always honest, that I'm reporting somebody if I 100% know that is worth a report. And technically, Caitlyn should have still got reported from me this game, because she did go AFK for whatever reason, but I just didn't know if she legitimately rage quit or not. But we're going to look to maybe end the game. We got the Baron. We're going to move on into the enemy base, and we're going to look for maybe some final damage on Morgana. Going to walk a little bit too close, probably going to look for the ultimate, doing a bit of damage. Now, Zhonya's arguably too early here, and I am going to get heavily focused, and we will die in the end. My team, though, again, it's not a bad thing to do that, by the way, because we're a distraction. Veigar does die, and the game will end. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this one. A little bit different. We don't normally do support kind of like commentaries like this in POV, but it showed. The lane phase doesn't need to go perfect for you to win a game. It doesn't need to, you like this game, I'd actually say a pretty good job combining, especially with the Jax. We did a pretty good job of carrying this game somewhat. We hit good binds, we look for good plays, we got a bunch of kills. And this is where somebody like, oh, it's not good for support to get kills. This is where, again, going back to the point that I made earlier, it is good to play a support that scales well, because then, yeah, I can start buying damage items and start winning the game for my team and actually becoming a carry. If I was playing, example, Janna this game, there's no way this game would have gone this way. It just wouldn't have. I wouldn't have been able to help as much as I did. So we gained 29. We're in gold 2, so we are on 48 LP now. We're at 8,516, so a really good score, combining with the Jax. The Ezreal, funny enough, actually finished with an okay score after lane phase when he stopped like playing all in and he started poking. And yeah, damage-wise, we do the 3rd most damage in the game. We do more than our mid laner, who was the Lux, obviously. We do more than the Fiora that does the weird build. And then Jax does the most just above the Ezreal, which is actually pretty impressive, remember, because Ezreal has a lot of poke damage. Jax is an all-in melee champion, so for Jax to do the most damage, that's pretty good going. But there it is. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. That was Morgana support. And hopefully it gives you guys a lesson of play supports that can turn and transition to carry the game. But that's going to be it. If you guys did enjoy, throw a like on it, throw a subscribe. Oh, I will also mention, I might have mentioned previously, there was a very toxic Kiana that happened the other day. Pretty sure she got banned, so that's a good thing. But anyway, that's going to be it. See you guys next time. Peace.